Hello students, today we will discuss about the popularity of the periodical essay. Okay. First, the rise of the middle classes. The reason for its popularity in the 18th century is to be sought in the rapport which it had with the genius of the century. It preeminently suited the genius and taste of the rising middle classes. In the social history of English, the 18th century is remarkable for spread of democratic feelings and rise of the middle classes. With the unprecedented rise in trade and commerce, the middle classes amassed great wealth and began to vie with the nobility and the landed gentry. The new rising middle class was so far neglected by the Hebrew writers. They had amused the upper class of the society, but now the middle classes begin to assert their status in the society. Next, a brevity of the periodical essay. The periodical essays normally covered not more than 2 sides of a folio sheet half. Quite often it was even shorter. Its brevity was an attraction for the reading classes. In the words of Jane H. Jack, not the least of the attractions of their new form was its brevity. The 17th century had been the century of long books. A 17th century reader seems to have been able to read anything. The only brief forms with any literary pretensions were stiff with wit. The increasing reading public of the 18th century brought a demand for easier reading. As Blackmore pointed out in the preface to the essays, the desireless of diffusive pieces in these times is carried so far that great books or pieces in this time is looked on as oppressive, while those in which the principle and as well as the sentiment of the author are contracted into a narrower compass if well read meet with general approbation. Okay. Next, a faithful reflection on 18th century society. Jane H. Jack remarks, a modern reader who wishes to breathe the atmosphere of the 18th century can hardly do better than spend a few hours with the Tatler, the Spectator, the Connoisseur, and the Citizen of the world. He will not find in them the spiritual peaks for avices of the age, the sacrificing satire, a tale of Otto, or the eloquent political insight of work. But he will find a faithful and well composed portrait of the age. In the vast papers of the Spectator, one finds descriptions of everyday life. The vivid reflections of Richmond and London, the country life, are not only the feast of delight for the readers, but also enhance one's information about the type of life lived at a particular era. Next is shifted to the moral temper of the age. The main reason for the success of the periodical literature in the 18th century lies in the fact that it suited the moral temper of the age. In the words of W. H. Hudson, they set themselves as moralists to break down to opposed influences that of the profligate restoration tradition of loose living and loose thinking on the one hand, and that of Puritan fantasism and bigotry on the other. Their method was admirably adapted to their purpose. They invectives as generally to the damage of their cause. The Puritan moralists habitually did they wrote good humorously met all classes of readers on their own ground and made ample allowance for the ordinary failings of humanity. Okay. Next है appeal to women. Women were hitherto neglected in literature, but the periodical essayists wrote both for them, women as well as for men, and thus won the interest and sympathy of the fair sex. Attention to the interests of the fair sex became one of the invariable conversation of the periodical essay, and there can be little doubt that the essayist did much to revise the general opinion about women who are treated with new respect and dignity. In the words of W.H. Hudson in particular, they addressed themselves avoidedly and directly to women, and at a time when women in society were as a rule immersed in the mere trivialities of existence. Next, a non-partisan character. Most of the periodical essayists were about petty controversies of religion and politics and focused their attention on topics of general interest, though they were either Whigs or Tories in politics, yet politics were touched but gingerly. Addition stated in the first issue of The Spectator, I never espoused any party with violence and am resolved to observe an exact neutrality between the Whigs and Tories, unless I shall be forced to declare myself by the hostilities of either side. Next, interest in trade and commerce. In the early 18th century, England rapid progress in trade and commerce, a new merchant community came into the limelight. The periodical essayists made a special appeal to this community by showing an interest in trade. Addition was one among the nation of traders that was bettering itself in this century. Like Defoe, he praises the merchant frequently and highly. The merchant is the true internationalist. He brings the culture of all the world to the Thames and makes mankind one. In the Royal Exchange edition, nobly moved, I am a Dan, Swede or Frenchman at different times, or rather fancy myself like the old philosopher who, upon being asked what centuryman he was, replied that he was a citizen of the world. As I am a great lover of mankind, my heart naturally overflows with the pleasure at the sight of a prosperous and happy multitude, in so much that at many public solemnities I cannot forbear expressing my joy